My name is Helena Kai. I'm 34 years old, the youngest in a family that thinks obedience is loyalty and silence is strength. My father is a former military officer turned real estate mogul. My brother Rhett, a once celebrated legal prodigy who now controls half of our family's holdings. I chose solitude, teaching design at a local college, living alone in an apartment they insisted was beneath our name. For most of my life, I've been treated like a delicate variable in a carefully scripted equation, one they kept trying to solve for. But even I didn't expect that when I asked them to stop walking into my apartment unannounced, they would try to erase me from my own life on paper. I thought changing the locks would protect me. What I didn't know was that they already had keys to everything else. The door clicked behind me with a soft thud. It smelled like citrus cleaner. And something else, cedar and leather. My stomach turned. I had switched brands a month ago. That scent hadn't been in here since before I changed the locks. Before I said the word out loud, boundary. I scanned the living room. Pillows fluffed. Curtains drawn. Left side pulled higher than the right, which I never did. My glass tumbler from this morning was gone. I walked straight to the fridge. Eggs. Full dozen. Almond milk I didn't buy. A single container of beet salad from Whole Foods. I hate beets. The air shifted. No sounds. No creaks. But I wasn't alone. Not really. Rhett's voice echoed from last week. Don't be dramatic, Lena. It's just a key. I turned to the hallway. My office door, slightly ajar. I hadn't touched that door in 3 days. My legs moved before my thoughts did. The desk had been organized. Papers squared, but one manila folder sat open. Inside, documents from my mother's old safety deposit box. 1 page missing. I kept them in a sealed drawer. No fingerprints. No scratches. They wore gloves this time. I called Rhett. He picked up on the 3rd ring, chewing something. Hey sis, what's up? You were here. Small pause. Chew. Swallow. Smile in his voice. Dad swung by. Said you'd been skipping meals again. That doesn't answer the question. Relax. We left it better than we found it. I never asked you to find it in the first place. More chewing. You're welcome, by the way. I hung up. The floor was too quiet that night. I double-checked the front lock. Deadbolt engaged. Security cam blinking red. I brushed my teeth in silence. Back in bed, I stared at the ceiling. Something's missing. My eyes darted to the nightstand. The letter. The one Mom gave me on her last birthday. She'd handwritten it in blue ink, her shaky cursive barely legible. Gone. The next morning, I opened my laptop to check my teaching schedule. Chrome launched. Then froze. Pop-up. Lease agreement updated. Click here to view changes. My lease. Solo tenant. Always has been. I clicked. Co-signed. Helena Kai / Darius Kai. What? No signature from me. But the system flagged it as digitally verified. Rhett had access to my old university email. I drove straight to the leasing office. Gray building. Corporate signage. Clean lines. Receptionist smiled too brightly. I'd like to dispute a document recently added to my file, I said, holding the printout. She tilted her head. Typed. I see here. Your father sent in verification. Said there were concerns about your stability, so he stepped in as a financial guardian. My blood iced. That's not true. We only process what's submitted. By who? Pause. She lowered her voice. It came from your email. Back at my apartment, I tore open my desk drawer. My USB drive was gone. Not misplaced. Gone. A receipt fluttered out between the folders. From Bellevue Credit Union. A $25,000 deposit made from my account the previous day. Location, Englewood branch. I've never been to Englewood. I stared at the numbers. My own handwriting on my own balance sheet didn't match. My phone buzzed. Blocked caller ID. I answered. Silence. Then. She doesn't suspect yet. Click. I stood still for a long time. My reflection stared back at me from the dark screen of the TV. Hollowed. Caught. This wasn't just paranoia anymore. They weren't checking in. They were rewriting things. Bit by bit. Step by step. And if I didn't stop them now, I'd be erased. They didn't just want to check on me, they wanted back in. The morning light was too white. Harsh. Like it knew something. I didn't sleep. I sat at the kitchen table in yesterday's clothes, staring at my laptop screen like it owed me an explanation. The digital lease was still there. Still wrong. Still legally binding. I didn't sign it. But there it was, my name, my digital signature, the co-signer field now reading, Darius Kai. I clicked Download PDF. Then View Signature Certificate. A timestamp. A digital trail. IP address masked. But the email used? My old .edu. The one I hadn't touched since grad school. And Rhett did have that login once. For emergency family backups. I felt cold. Some people set fires with gasoline. My family used paperwork. I pulled my phone from the charger. Dialed property management. Busy. Again. 5 tries. Voicemail. Cut scene. I threw on a coat. Keys were. Front door creaked. Opened slower than usual. Like it didn't want me to leave. The leasing office was 3 blocks away. Glass and steel and fake smiles. Receptionist, mid-20s, wore neutral lipstick and a name tag that read Kara. Hi, can I help you? I need to dispute a fraudulent update to my lease. It lists my father as co-tenant without my permission. Click. She squinted at her screen. Mr. Kai provided documentation. Medical notes. A bank statement. A guardianship intent. It says you're in. Early psychological crisis. I stared at her. You think I look unstable? She didn't blink. That's not my job. Her voice was so calm I wanted to scream. I left before I broke something. The wind bit my cheeks. Denver felt too quiet, too staged, like the background noise had been turned down, just enough for me to hear my own panic. I called Sarah. She picked up mid-yawn. What the hell, Helena? I need your help. Now. It started. Sarah's apartment smelled like peppermint tea and printer ink. She listened without interrupting. Took notes. Her eyebrows kept twitching upward with every new sentence. They forged a lease. They're using your old email. They filed for co-tenancy. And you're telling me the leasing office accepted a bank statement and a fake diagnosis. Yeah. Jesus. I think they're building something. A case. A case against you. Exactly. She tapped her tablet. Let's check that email server. If they spoofed it, there might still be metadata. 10 minutes later. Got it. She turned the screen toward me. An email sent from my .edu to leasing@fortnerapartments.com. Subject. Urgent health notice plus power of attorney. Attached. A PDF letter with my name typed across the bottom. Not signed. Typed. And a bank record showing a transfer from my account to a joint fund. I never opened that fund. You didn't have to, she murmured. They did it in your name. Cut to black. That night, Sarah got a text from a blocked number. Back off. This is family business. She showed me without a word. I smiled bitterly. Funny how people only say family when they want you to shut up. She poured wine. Someone broke into my office. What? This morning. Paperwork trashed. Just mine. My client files are cloud-based. But still, they're watching me through you. Yeah. And we're gonna make and regret that. Twist cut. I checked my health insurance portal. Something new. My emergency contact? Rhett Kai. The last update was time-stamped 3 days ago. Under authorized medical release. It listed him. Not me. My fingers shook. I copied every page into a locked folder. Then I checked my bank. Frozen. A red flag notification. Fraud alert pending investigation. The only listed transfer. $15,000 withdrawn and deposited into the Kai Family Trust Fund. There was no trust fund. There was no permission. There was only theft. I'm being erased. Sarah looked at me like I'd said it too late. They're going to conservatorship you, Helena. My skin tightened. That's for people who can't function, who are sick. She met my eyes. And they're making it look like that's you. Cut scene. We sat in silence. Outside, a gray sedan passed by. Then again. Then again. Same route. Same time. Third day. I scribbled something in my notebook. When they can't control you, they label you unfit. I flipped the page. Then I wrote one word. Trap. If they're trying to erase me on paper, I'll burn their playbook first. The gray sedan didn't show up the next morning. That was the first sign. People like Darius don't disappear. They retreat. Regroup. When a predator goes quiet, it isn't peace. It's patience. Sarah had a plan. You want proof they forged your signature? Let's give them something better. Make them walk into it. Willingly. You mean bait them? No. I mean expose them in public. Somewhere they can't rewrite. The gala was perfect. AMC Real Estate's quarterly fundraiser. Full press coverage. Big donors. Private rooms. Open wine. Paper trails. Masks. They'd be there. Darius never missed a photo op. Rhett handled the money, but Darius was the face. And Helena Kai, the forgotten daughter, was supposed to stay quiet in the corner. Again. Not tonight. The ballroom pulsed with wealth. Chandelier light fractured across champagne glasses. Strings of fake smiles and real knives. Sarah wore black velvet. I wore midnight blue. Power disguised as elegance. You okay? She asked as I scanned the crowd. I've been pretending longer than they've been lying. I've had practice. Keep your phone on record. Keep your pulse under control. I keep both in my purse. Cut scene. The first time I saw Rhett that night, he was laughing. Not fake. Real. Like he'd already won. Lena, he said, sweeping in with a glass of something brown. I didn't expect you to show. I thought we were a family, I said. We are. Smile. You're just not very active in it. Is that why you decided to sign my medical proxy? His eyes flicked. Smile didn't. Big words. You should be careful where you say them. You should be careful where you forge them. He stepped closer, lowered his voice. I'm not the one who needs help right now. Distraction. Reveal. Cut. Sarah was already texting, they're here. Conference room C, 15 minutes. I nodded once, smoothed my dress, and walked away from the past 10 years like it was a curtain I could pull down. The hallway was empty. Carpet soft. Security low. Behind the conference room door, Darius, AMC CEO, their estate lawyer, and, unexpected, Nolan Reyes, compliance investigator. Rhett followed behind me seconds later. Lena, this is not your space. It is now. I laid the USB on the table. Inside are 6 forged documents tied to my name, including bank authorization, a trust clause, and medical claims no psychiatrist signed. Nolan reached for it. Rhett's hand snapped out. No. Nolan didn't flinch. You've both been under quiet review since March. Darius finally spoke. You came into this world screaming, Helena, and you've been doing it ever since. I turned to him. You taught me one thing, Dad. Control only works when people are afraid of losing what little they have left. He leaned forward. And what do you have left? Cinematic beat. I pulled out the recorder from my clutch. Press play. Rhett's voice. From the last phone call. We left it better than we found it. You're welcome. Then the voicemail. She doesn't suspect yet. Nolan's jaw tensed. You used your access as co-signers to submit false documents. If any of these are confirmed, you've committed felony-level fraud. Darius stood. You have no idea what you're playing with. I'm not playing, I said. I'm erasing your name the way you tried to erase mine. Security was called. The lawyer tried to stall. Too late. Nolan held up the drive. I'll be requesting your compliance with a voluntary hold on all accounts tied to Helena Kai within 24 hours. Rhett's mask cracked just slightly. Darius didn't look at me. He looked through me, like something he thought he'd buried had clawed back from the dirt. Cut scene. Outside, I exhaled. Wind whipped my dress. Sarah joined me at the valet circle. You did it, she whispered. No, I started it. Back at my apartment, the door was open. Not wide. Just enough. Inside, dark. Still. Then I saw it on the floor. A single envelope. No address. No stamp. Just my name and my mother's handwriting. And next to it, a flash drive. It wasn't mine. I hadn't seen it in 10 years. But I recognized the initials etched into the plastic. MC. My mother. And that's when I knew. She was never gone. She'd been running from them. The gray sedan was waiting again. I saw it before I opened the door. Black rims. Tinted windows. Like a shadow parked on asphalt. My heartbeat spiked. I didn't live in a neighborhood where luxury cars lurked. Only predators did. I stepped inside. Locked the door behind me. I kept thinking, a secret gets louder every time you try to silence it. But this was silence with intent. I couldn't stay. Not after what Nolan said. Not after I baited them at AMC. Not after the leasing office groomed a legal trap using my own identity. I grabbed my purse, jacket, keys, breath sharp. Every step felt monitored. I heard it in the quiet. Sarah's number lit up. Gone dark, she texted. Not yet, I typed back. No time for pleasantries. Anything could be tapped. I took the subway. Crowded. Noise. Bodies moving in collective anonymity. Perfect. But I felt seen. Always seen. Even in the crowd. I told myself, you can hide in plain sight if you make everyone too busy to notice. Maybe that was true. But not tonight. I met Sarah at a corner diner. Booth by the window. Rain tapping like static on glass. Sarah, I said without greeting. You're being followed, she finished. I didn't blink. You saw him too? That car pulled up 3 blocks from my office yesterday. My stomach dropped. We're being watched. She slid a manila envelope across the table. Marisol sent this. Inside, old photos, files stamped with dates. A USB labeled MC, private. My breath caught. Marisol had risked something. Something big. I remembered Mom's handwriting. The bent curve of the H. The angle of the C. This was her. But Mom. Mom wasn't supposed to be alive. Not after the obituary. Not after the crash. Not after Darius said she was gone. But the letters matched. Every stroke. Every flourish. I zipped my jacket. Grabbed the drive. We left. Rain soaked the streets. Cars passed by like phantoms. I felt tracked. Because I was. Every step. Every turn. I sensed eyes. Mine weren't closed. They never would be again. We reached Sarah's studio. No lights. No music. Just the hum of the city outside. Sarah handed me a laptop. Show me what you found. I plugged in the drive. Files loaded slow. 1 video. 1 file. I clicked. Black screen. Then a voice. Weak. Shaky. Helena. My name. Her voice. Mother's voice. Alive. Not static. Not a memory. Alive. My head snapped up. Sarah's eyes were wide. She's alive, I whispered. I told you, Sarah said slowly. She didn't die. She disappeared for a reason. The room spun. My knees weakened. Mom's face filled the screen. Tears. Fear. A trembling whisper. Don't trust them. Then silence. No outro. No sound. Just a frozen image of her lips moving. My phone buzzed. One message. From an unknown number. You shouldn't have opened that. My fingers shook. I deleted it without reading more. Something else pinged. Email. From me. Sent 10 minutes ago. Subject. Backup location. Body. Drive contents also stored at 2308 West Willow Lane. Marvin's storage unit. The message disappeared before I could even scroll. Everything sped up. Sarah and I looked at each other. No words. Just tension. We had a location. We had a direction. We had to act. I grabbed Sarah's arm. We go now. She nodded. No hesitation. No fear. Only urgency. The streets were darker than before. Night had swallowed the city. Only streetlights glowed like watchtowers. We reached the unit at Willow. Metal door. Lock rusted. I punched the code. Slide. Open. Cold. Dark. Boxes stacked. Tape peeling. A shape in the back. A covered canvas. I pulled. A car. Old. Beige. Mom's. License plate twisted. I stepped back. Heart rattling. Sarah's breath quick. We scanned around. A stack of folders tied with a rubber band. I dropped to my knees. Opened the first. Photos. Documents. Legal paperwork dated years before Mom's disappearance. Insurance claims. Wrongful death affidavits. Forged signatures. Bank transfers. All leading to a trust fund. My supposed inheritance. But instead of a fund, it was a burial plot trust. And Mom's name was on it. But the body? No record. No DNA. No closure. Just paperwork. A beep. The unit door. Locked. Clicked. Behind us. Footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. My breath froze. Sarah whispered, "They found us." A shadow filled the doorway. Tall. Broad shoulders. Familiar gait. Not a stranger. Not a thug. But someone I never expected. Rhett. He didn't smile. But his eyes did. Cold. Unapologetic. He said one thing. Only one. "You shouldn't have come here." And the door locked again. From the outside. With a key. And we were trapped. Rhett stepped closer. Too close. He didn't reach for us. He reached for the folders. He didn't care about Mom's car. He cared about the truth. And the truth was a threat. To him. To Darius. To everything they built. My pulse hammered. I saw a drop of rain slide down the metal door. Like time itself was slipping. I remembered something Mom once said. Truth has a way of reaching the surface, even through stone. I didn't know if that was hope. Or a warning. But I whispered it anyway. And Rhett heard. He stopped. For a moment. Then smiled. Not warm. Not kind. Just sure. "Now you know," he said. The lock snapped behind us. Metal on metal. Final. Sarah didn't scream. She never did. She inhaled once. Slow. Like she was filing the moment away for later. Rhett stood between us and the door. Hands relaxed, eyes alert. He wasn't panicking. He was calculating. "This is kidnapping," I said. He tilted his head. "No. This is family intervention." I laughed. Too sharp. "You always did like rebranding crimes." He stepped closer. The storage unit hummed. Old fluorescent lights. Dust in the air. The smell of oil and paper rot. Mom's car sat like a corpse under canvas. The folders were spread across the crate like bones. Rhett reached for them. I moved first. I grabbed the nearest box and hurled it. Not at him, past him. It exploded against the wall. Papers burst. A distraction. Sarah lunged for the door. Slammed her shoulder into it. Nothing. Rhett caught my wrist. Strong. Familiar. Brother's grip. He whispered, "You don't understand the scope of this." "I understand theft," I said. "Forgery. Coercion. And I understand that when people start hiding bodies on paper, they're usually hiding worse." He released me, slowly, like a concession. "You think this ends with Nolan?" he asked. "With a gala and a USB? This goes higher. Dad didn't invent the system. He learned how to survive it." The lights flickered. I saw it then. The small black dome above the door. A camera. "You're recording us," I said. "Always record," he replied. "That's how you control the narrative." A line I'd heard my father say 100 times. I backed toward Mom's car. My heel hit something. The locket. Split open. I picked it up. Inside, a micro SD card. Rhett's eyes flicked. He hadn't known. That was the crack. Sarah saw it too. She moved. Fast. She kicked the crate into Rhett's knees. He staggered. I shoved him back. Sarah slammed her palm into the emergency release. The alarm screamed. Red light. Siren. Motion sensors waking. Rhett swore. "You just escalated." "That's the point," Sarah said. "People only tell the truth when the room gets loud." We ran. The door didn't open, but the alarm did its job. Somewhere a call went out. Mandatory report. Security. Police. Rhett didn't chase us. He smiled instead. "Check your phone," he said. Cut. Outside. Rain slashed sideways. The sedan idled at the curb. I checked my phone. Missed call. Nolan. Voicemail. His voice was tight. "Helena, they filed emergency conservatorship papers. Judge signed a temporary hold pending hearing. You need counsel. Now." My legs went weak. "They're trying to declare me unfit," I said. Sarah grabbed my arm. "We counterfile. Abuse. Fraud. Coercion. We need proof that predates tonight," I said. "Something they can't say I fabricated under stress." We drove. No headlights behind us. Too clean. Back at my apartment, the hallway was quiet. Too quiet. My door was ajar. "That's not possible," I whispered. "I changed the locks." Sarah drew a breath. "Locks keep honest people out." We entered together. Chaos. Couch overturned. Drawers dumped. Closet stripped. The cameras I'd installed ripped out. Wires dangling like veins. In the center of the floor, my laptop. Open. Screen glowing. An email draft. Addressed to the court. Subject. Voluntary admission request. Signed, Helena Kai. Time stamped 10 minutes ago. "They're writing my breakdown in real time," I said. Sarah scanned the room. "They're not done." On the counter, a post-it. One word. "Look." I followed it to the bathroom mirror. Cracked. A spider web of fractures radiating from the center. Behind it, taped an envelope. Inside, copies. Medical intake forms. Psychiatric notes. A diagnosis I'd never received. A physician I'd never met. And a photograph. My mother. Hospital bed. For in her arm. Eyes open. Terrified. A note in the margin. My father's handwriting. Compliance keeps her safe. The room tilted. I steadied myself against the sink. "People say the truth sets you free," I said. "They don't tell you it tries to kill you first." Cut. The phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Darius's voice filled the room. Calm. Polished. "You've caused quite a mess," he said. "You disappeared my mother," I replied. "I protected her from herself." "By erasing her?" "By containing her." I closed my eyes, counted my breaths. "You broke into my apartment," I said. "You forged my signature. You're trying to put me away." "You're spiraling, Helena," he said gently. "And the court agrees." Sarah leaned in. I put him on speaker. "I want to see her," I said. "My mother. Proof she's alive." Silence. Then, tomorrow. Rooftop of the old Kai building. Midnight. Come alone. Bring her, I said. If you want her safe, he replied, you'll listen. The line went dead. I sank onto the floor. Sarah knelt beside me. We don't go alone. We do, I said, but not unarmed. She nodded. I'll call Nolan. File for emergency injunction. Get eyes on the building. I pulled the SD card from the locket, slotted it into my phone. Files opened. Video. My mother whispering. If you're seeing this, they're close. Remember this. Power hates witnesses. So become one. I wiped my face. Stood. They wanted me isolated, discredited, quiet. I was done being quiet. This ends on the roof, I said. Under the lights. Sarah squeezed my hand. Then, let's make sure the whole city's watching. Outside, the gray sedan rolled past, slow, deliberate, like a promise. And for the first time, I wasn't afraid. The wind cut like glass. Rooftop lights flickered overhead, alive in the cold night. Denver sprawled below, an ocean of amber against the dark. I stood at the edge. No fear, only focus. Tonight was the last card. Dad's message still played in my mind. Come alone. Midnight. Rooftop of the old Kai building. I wasn't alone. Sarah was behind me. Nolan was 2 blocks away. Eyes on every exit. Agents in shadows. Cameras hidden in vents. We were ready. My phone buzzed. One line. Mom, video call. She appeared frail. Hospital gown. For drip. Eyes sunken but alive. I never stopped watching, she whispered. Static crackle. Then she smiled. Trust no one who says love is possession. Then the call cut. I steadied my breath. That was the first twist. The second, I wasn't the only one watching this rooftop. Dark silhouettes shifted on the northern ledge. I scanned the horizon. 2 figures. One, familiar gait. Rhett. Cold smile. He stepped forward. You think secrecy is power, he said, voice calm. I didn't respond. I'd learned long ago. Silence is also a weapon. He pulled out a folder. White paper betrayed him. Court orders, affidavits, papers stamped with official seals. He tossed it. Wind caught the edges. Chaos. I filed for a restraining order against you, Rhett said. Temporary. If Dad agrees, I become your guardian. I didn't flinch. Guardianship isn't freedom. He didn't expect the answer. I saw it in his eyes, just for a second. Cut. Nolan stepped out of the shadows. Pause, he said, voice clipped. Agents formed a circle, like a net closing in. Rhett raised his hands. Let's talk, Nolan continued. About that, I said. I stepped toward Rhett with a slow, steady rhythm, the rhythm of control. But Rhett didn't flinch. Instead, he dropped the final card. A USB drive. Same label as the one I found in Mom's locket, MC. He threw it onto the ground at my feet. I didn't step back. It hovered between us, like truth waiting. I bent slowly, picked it up. Hands didn't shake. I pressed play. The rooftop was silent. The city buzzed far below. On the screen, Mom, younger, smiling. Not a hospital gown. Not broken. Walking. In a garden. Sunlight on her hair. Voice clear. Truth can't be buried, she said slowly. Not by locks, not by lies. I felt Sarah's breath catch. Nolan's jaw tightened. Rhett looked away. Something changed. I turned to Nolan. This isn't just fraud, I said. It's concealment. Abuse of power. Forgery on a professional scale. Nolan nodded. His phone was out. Dialing. Record everything, he said. Then, federal agents inbound. Rhett paled. I faced him. Every word sharp. Your father taught you to manipulate documentation. To think legality meant justice. But justice isn't a line in a ledger. It's a life you protect. Rhett swallowed. Then I saw the crack. The moment his posture failed. His eyes widened. I delivered one final phrase, bare and true. Power hates witnesses, so become one. Agents arrived. Helicopter blades chopped the air. The rooftop glowed. They moved in. Rhett's protest was a whisper. Dad's name was called out, interference pending. And then, the handcuffs clicked. Metal closing. Not loud, but final. I watched them go. My mother's voice, still lingering from the USB, echo in my mind. Truth has a way of reaching the surface. I exhaled. Rain began to fall. Soft at first, then harder, like cleansing, like renewal. I turned to Nolan. He offered a rare, tight smile. We'll get your name cleared, permanently. I didn't speak. I just watched the skyline. The next morning, press cameras flashed in front of the courthouse. My attorneys stood with me. Statements issued. Court filings verified. No more forged signatures. No more fake diagnoses. No more hidden trust funds. Only truth. One reporter said to me, "In life, sometimes you have to burn the bridges to light the way." I thought of those words, and I realized, truth doesn't just burn, it illuminates. Later, on the rooftop where it all began, I stood alone. Mom's locket in my hand. Open. Empty. I whispered to the wind. Love is not control. I felt it echo back. A promise or a warning. I walked away, not because the danger was over, but because I knew now who I was. They tried to erase me, reinvented my identity, hijacked my name, held my past hostage. But they forgot one thing. I remembered how to live, not on their terms, not in their shadows, but in the light of my own conviction. A final truth came to me then. Freedom isn't surviving the storm. It's standing in the rain and letting it wash you clean. And as I stepped off the rooftop, heart steady, eyes forward, I knew I was finally free.